Hello.
Hi, my name is Estrella and welcome to my channel where I talk about social issues, the media, and sometimes myself. This week's video is about how I peaked on YouTube a year ago when I made my first commentary video. While I don't feel like cringing at myself when I rewatch that video, except at the giant gaping holes on my head, a lot has changed since then. For instance, I no longer identify as a girl. In fact, I talked about the internal male gaze because I didn't want to question my gender identity alone. And certainly it worked out because hundreds of you commented on that video sharing your thoughts on the male gaze. But with that, it also meant that I received comments from men who implied that the patriarchy, drum rolls please, in fact does not exist. Anyways, a quick recap on the male gaze. It's a feminist concept referring to the way women are portrayed in the media as sexual objects for men's pleasure. And since this is so common in the media, it influences the way we perceive ourselves. So if you ever act a certain way when you're home alone, pretending your crush is in front of you, I'm here to validate your feelings and let you know that you're not completely delusional. It's just the internal male gaze. So now let's go down memory lane and reminisce on a time I peaked. You know, nowadays everyone wants to be a main character. It's something that's seen as desirable. But what we see as main character, at least for females, is a lot of times we imagine ourselves walking into this public area and guys just staring at us. But really that's seeing ourselves as the love interest of men, which then doesn't really make us main characters. I really called everyone out here, including myself. I was a person who tried to be the main character by actively expressing myself in ways that I thought men wouldn't find attractive. And I didn't realize by doing so, it meant that I still cared about what men thought of me, and I still cared about the male gaze. It's also weird that I even care about men's attention so much because I identify as bisexual, but frankly, I don't care about women's attention nearly as much as men's. I wish I could say that I've changed my ways, but unfortunately, I don't think I have. Because since then, I've learned that I way prefer women, but I don't care about women's attention way more. And I still enjoy the occasional look from men. Oh, especially when they're straight and they think that finding a non-binary person attractive is not a little queer. The male gaze has an influence on compulsory heterosexuality. Compulsory heterosexuality is basically feeling obligated to like men. I think compulsory heterosexuality is proof that sexuality is not a choice, because if it were, some of us would choose not to like men. There was actually a point in time when I thought that I could be in denial about being a lesbian, because I was like, maybe I just feel obligated to like men. Especially when I came out as non-binary, I had to deal with the age-old question of, do I want to be him or do I want to be with him? And it turns out it's a little bit of both. I figured out I was bisexual when I saw a scholarship for LGBTQ+ people. This is true. I did in fact figure out my sexuality or come to terms with it because I needed money for school. Thanks, capitalism. I had internalized this male gaze and was afraid that I was no longer normal and guys wouldn't like me because I like other genders. Doesn't really make any sense, but at least I'm aware that it doesn't really make sense because now I'm actually glad I have options. Not that there's a line of people waiting at my disposal, but I have options in the sense that I have men, women, everyone in between, as opposed to when I thought I was straight, my only options were men. I also really lacked confidence, especially in high school. I looked like this in high school. I had long hair, didn't wear any makeup, and I wore teeny tiny tops. I think I currently look more like when I identified as a girl versus when I thought that I could be non-binary and still questioning my gender identity. Like, I really shaved my head and tried out so many different eyeliner looks just to go back to the way I looked for a long time. Talk about a full circle moment. The thing is, now that I'm more comfortable with my gender identity and don't care so much about how people perceive me, I just want to wear anything that makes me feel confident, even if it means that people, especially men, will assume that I'm just a girl. I didn't want to look like a boy, but I overcompensated by getting lash extensions and wearing teeny tiny tops again. You know what? Maybe I'm still doing that. Maybe I'm still subconsciously dressing feminine to cater to men. But this is not therapy, so we're not gonna unpack that. Also, if you're a girl and you want to figure out your gender identity and work through your internal male gaze, I honestly recommend shaving your head. Look at me being such a great influence. I still stand by that though. I think that shaving my head definitely helped me figure out my gender identity. But don't blame me if you do it and you end up looking like an egg. It's so much more liberating to just act and wear whatever the fuck you want. That's fair, only I didn't really wear whatever I wanted at the time. I was really hyperfixated on how each piece of clothing would express my gender, and I always wanted to make sure I looked androgynous. Now thankfully I don't get gender dysphoria as much, and while I wish people could see me for who I am, I also know that I can't control how people perceive me. I also do this thing where if a guy accidentally misgenders me, I can get pretty offended, but if a girl does that, I'll be like, "Aw, you see me as one of the girlies, that's cute." The thing is with men, I find that they feel more comfortable seeing me as a woman because if they feel any attraction towards me, they can still feel secure in their sexuality and not question it. Viewing me as a girl literally benefits them because it fits the idea they have of me. Versus with women and everyone else, I find it more endearing and don't really have this negative connotation of being misgendered, unless obviously if they do it on purpose. Overall, I think I see myself through the male gaze a lot less than I did before, but I still do it sometimes. But like, I'm just gonna live, laugh, love. Now that I'm done talking about myself, give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and comment down below your thoughts and perhaps how the male gaze has impacted you. I think it'll be interesting to see how you've grown with me over the past year. Subscribe for more videos like this. This is going to be my new setup now, I think. I really like this corner. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. Bye.
Hold on. Can we switch the language?